Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
Welcome to what we're now calling Doctor Who Cares Reviews. I promised you guys last week I come up with a good thumbnail, and then Jed decided, God damn, I'll torture myself too. And I realized, oh, I can really make a thumbnail. And then here we go. We're ready. It is now. We are now. I'm going to say this and try not to be gay about it. We're now threesome. So
no. How am I not the one that's the degenerate in the beginning?
Because I don't know. Listen, I'm already loopy. I've already been streaming for a couple hours. All right, I'm already loopy.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Whatever. Anyway, we're welcome everybody to Doctor Who Cares Reviews. I am Adam. I always said I'm Adam, the Hollywood scholar, because I was looking at
I heard that.
I said that. Yeah. I'm joined by
Dermy
and Jed. No, I'm not drunk. I'm just tired at this point. Listen.
So he's drunk.
Listen, I think I'm the one that hated this the most this week. After talking to both of you and trying not to trying to keep a powder dry and not complain too much, I think I'm the one that hates this the most after talking to both of you briefly about it. But anyway, let's go around and say hi. Dermy, you sober this day? You sober today now? Right,
yeah, but I mean, this episode, I had the bottle of whiskey. It was right here. Started watching it last night after Ballbusters. I was drunk. Then I had to watch it again. Not a good episode, but both times I was not super thrilled. So there's good parts, and I'm sober. I didn't start drinking. I almost started drinking, but I didn't. I debated it. If it was bad enough, I'll start drinking.
Well, if Jed wasn't drinking from last stream, he might not be drinking now. Jed,
this is Irish coffee. This is Irish coffee that I've got here in my Doctor Who mug.
But I just ate a very full meal, so I'm not drinking anything. How you doing, Jed? I feel like I haven't seen you at all today.
No, it's not like we saw each other, 45 minutes ago. But it is good to be here. I think I planned this out perfectly because Space Babies and Devil's Cord were just so bad that I would have lost. I would have had an aneurysm if I were on the stream last week. But I chose this episode to come in on. I was able to watch the other two episodes at 2x speed, blast through it, and just try not to think about it. And this one is better, but still far from good. It's far from good, but it's definitely an improvement over the first two. And so it's a better ease into these reviews and these streams than Space Babies and the Devil's Cord would have been.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I guess we'll get right into it. I think the difference is Moffat. Moffat is the difference. And this is the episode he wrote. We were all wondering for a long time, is Moffat going to have an episode? And this was it.
He's also doing the Christmas special at the end of this year.
I was curious, is there a Christmas special this year?
Yep, and he's writing it. Or did write it, I guess. But you can definitely see the difference in Moffat. This isn't peak Moffat, far from it. But I think at best, the highest praise I could give this is it probably could slot into season 10 without standing out. I feel like it's close to the average quality of season 10, which is significantly better than we've seen in a while.
The writing wasn't as garbage as the last two ones, but this one, this episode is still littered with problems. And real quickly, people on my end, are we having a problem? I just got a notice from StreamYards that there's a problem on YouTube with me. Are we okay on my end? I want to make sure. Anybody on my side? Just checking real quick.
Goddess is on your side.
He's on everybody's side. He's everywhere.
Let me pull up your stream.
I mean, it looks fine. Now it's saying no data. I might have to go out and come back in, but then I can't end.
It looks fine. I just pulled up your stream and it looks fine.
Okay, all right. All right then, good. I just want to make sure we want this to go well, even though because you guys don't want to miss a moment. There's going to be moments of ranting. I know there is. At least on my side. It's going to be because
don't worry, I have some rants.
As I was saying this before, out of the three of us, I think I'm the one that hated this the most. So not because I'm going in angry, but because I'm sitting down, I'm looking, and this is the point I brought up to Jed when we talked about it for like a minute today, so before we realized let's keep our powder dry. To me, having an episode where the Doctor is in such imminent danger, it steals all the tension for me. Because I know he's not going to die. So I feel as though having Ncuti Gatwa be in this type of mortal danger for the whole episode, it takes something away. And you did make a good point on what is a positive about him.
Oh yeah, so I think the biggest positive for this episode in its entirety is making Shurigatwa stand in one place, because his whole like effeminate dancey crap is immediately taken off the table.
As soon as he was freed from it, what did he do? He pranced around and danced with the little girl.
Yep.
He danced with the little girl.
Shurigatwa can't run.
No,
He cannot run.
absolutely
Did you see that top down when he was running? First of all,
I have it in
it
my
was
review.
really
his
bad.
pants are too tight. His ass is just
this
resting out.
costume's terrible.
He
I
has
don't know
no
what they were
doctor
thinking.
outfit. I mean, listen,
No,
I was
not
very
at all.
proud that I don't have it as an overlay right now, but you guys can see it behind me. You saw it as opening. It's our thumbnail. It's the thumbnail I made for this. And we get big shout out to Devil made me do it for providing me with the chibi heads that he uses for Ballbusters. Thanks, Devil. I was very happy that when I assigned each of us a doctor for the thumbnail, that we can choose the doc. We have doctor outfits because the doctor has an outfit. He has a uniform. Shurigatwa doesn't have a uniform.
Oh God, no.
It's whatever he pulls out of his gay closet.
Hell, Dr. Karen had a uniform.
Yeah.
It was terrible, but she did have a consistent look.
That one look she kept for the whole time. Never changed it.
I mean, she did add the scarf for one or two
There was a
episodes.
scarf?
There was a rainbow scarf she had for a couple episodes.
Didn't Smith change up his look a little bit? But
He
changed up their look, but it wasn't.
Everybody
It was still a
changed
set.
it.
Yeah. David Tennant had a few minor variations, like the
Yeah.
brown suit versus the blue suit. Christopher Eccleston was the same the whole time.
Goddamn
And
hoodie,
Matt
that
Smith,
hoodie though.
Season 7, Part 2, Matt Smith got a new costume, and
Yeah.
I prefer his original costume, but his new costume is still really good.
The
And
one
then
I had,
Capaldi
one I
had a
chose for you
different
though,
one each
it just
season.
looked too good. Him going like this with the bow tie.
Oh, dude, it
that's what I
looks
chose.
really good.
Yeah.
And
I tried to
that-
put a fez on your head, but it wouldn't work.
that was one thing Rachel said is, I was going to give this thumbnail a good review, but no fez, no luck.
I tried, Rachel. I tried. my thumbnail skills are just not good enough. I couldn't blend the fez. It just looked like it was sitting there. It didn't blend with your head.
You somehow made the perfect thumbnail. It encapsulates all of us. And also we get one of our favorite doctors each.
Well, I asked you. I made sure which doctor you want. You guys gave the exact answers I knew you were going to give me. So it made it very easy. And I was perfectly happy to be
I wasn't sure if you were going to choose Capaldi or Eccleston. I wasn't sure.
I like the maturity of Capaldi. That's
true. He was definitely very mature.
And I like that pose.
His second costume, though, is the worst of actual.
The hoodie is horrible. The hoodie is terrible. Then he went
I
back.
love his season 10 one. His season 10 is one of the few things that season 10 improved on.
It's a variation of his first season. But either way,
but several classic doctors did change their looks from time to time, but it was always pretty consistent. Like the first half of Tom Baker versus the second half of Tom Baker, but it was a long time difference.
We have technically, as Jeremy pointing out to me, 3 episodes. If you count the Christmas special of Shurigatwa, he has worn something different every time. And in the Christmas episode, went through 4 different costume changes.
We're at 4 episodes now with Boom.
Yeah,
you're right. See,
but yeah, each episode he's wearing a different outfit, and that's just not the Doctor. There were a few moments in this I thought if this were a better actor, that could have been a Doctor moment. Like there were still some Stephen Moffat's isms that I liked. He still pulled his anti-capitalist thing, which was a big thing in the Capaldi era.
Oh God, she did, and
it's awful.
That was awful. And it was another point when, and I'll see if I can get to because I have it up here, when he is talking to Monday.
Monday.
I want you to get married. Shut the fuck up. Just shut up.
And they mentioned lesbians again in this episode.
Yeah, I know.
The lesbians are going to assist with one of my rants.
Yeah.
Do I do it now or later?
Before we go any farther, hail and howdy to everybody across all our channels watching us. We are on all 3 of our channels. Thank you guys for joining us. Hit the like button, subscribe, and enjoy the rest of the show where they're watching it now live or on the replays. All right, but yeah, so that capitalism thing, it was at one point I said he's talking to Monday, and he gets this petty look on his face. I meant to go back and try and see where it was, but I didn't have a chance because I was hungry and I wanted to eat dinner.
He went from to He cried so fucking
7
much.
times. I counted 7 times.
It was
he
7
cried.
times.
7 times. And
this
Jeremy caught
episode
this
could
too.
have been good, actually good, if this were a real doctor. The
Yeah.
writing had a foundation, but shoot, he
And-
can't pull it off.
And Jeremy saw it. Jed, did you see that at one point the flavor saver had a giant glob of snot on it?
Yes.
It's
I
disgusting.
did like, though, the one thing that I liked about it is when the episode opened, when we saw Shooty got with for the first time, he heard someone cry for help and he immediately went into action. Whereas in the previous 2 episodes, as soon as something was in trouble, oh my God, I'm so scared, and run away and hide.
So,
Like he just dove
now,
right in.
I can
So
give
I'm
you
gonna
that.
push-
I'll give you that. Jeremy
It
probably
wasn't
wished I said
smart,
Ryan.
but it was just
But
he's
yeah, that's
being
my point.
brave.
It was
Yeah.
what he doesn't assess situation. He doesn't break out the Sonic to do a quick scan. He just, I don't even
Well,
want to
he
say
does-
duck runs. He just kind of.
Well, if we think about this, we've actually seen a very similar scene to this before at the beginning of season 9 and kind of throughout season 9 as well, when Peter Capaldi came across Davros in the minefield with the hand mines. The hand mines were weird, but in that same situation, he knows someone is in trouble, but he takes a moment to assess the
careful.
situation. He was careful and he figured out, all right, I'm going to throw you the Sonic. I'm going to encourage you. And that's another thing Shutigawa actually cared about. He lied to Ruby a couple times at the beginning. It was very much like trying to keep her mental state in a good place.
You know
too.
what I think that is? I think that's Moffat who
Exactly
established that Doctor lies.
And there was a lot of references to Moffat's era, and they destroyed one though. And it's like Moffat knows better is what I mean. In his whole speech about how evil religion and faith are, I despise
That was the other
that.
thing.
Yeah.
I hate
why
that
did he
so
do
much.
that?
Because we've seen the Doctor interact with these people before, these the religious army before, in a lot
it
of the
the-
Matt Smith era.
Yeah.
Was it the
well-
religious army that he dealt with, or was it a variation? I don't remember.
So I mean, there was the main church of the papal mainframe, and then there was the off branch that became the Church of the Silence. So there were off branches like a Demon's Run, but I think it's supposed to be the main one, like what we saw in the Time of the Angels.
Yes.
With
Yes.
when River Song was reintroduced in season 5. But the moment I want to compare his oh my God, faith is so bad to is season 7. It was the second episode of it. I don't know what it is actually in season 7 part 2. When they go to the Rings of Akate and he's telling Clara this religion, this story about the creation of the universe, and she says, "Are they right? Is this religion true?" And Matt Smith just gets really quiet and he smiles a little bit and he says, "It's a good story." And that's all you have to say.
That
It's
is respectful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they really went in on the faith aspect. Like, you need proof now of the person that has faith. You now need proof.
Jeremy, I
And that
think
was
that's the moment I was talking about when he gets
Hate it
that
so
look
much.
on his face and he just goes,
That's one of the most stupidest lines, because she's still an officer of a military. She needs proof to show up to her higher ups. Just because you have faith in something else doesn't mean that you still need to have proof for another situation.
And he's trading faith for faith. It's like, faith is such a bad thing. Have faith in me, though. The Doctor, his companions have faith in him. That's the whole thing. So the idea of the Doctor thinking faith is evil until the end, where he's like, all right, I don't like it, but doesn't mean I don't need it. Like, that's so antithetical to this character.
let's set the scene real quick then to get any farther. So we already mentioned Doctor. We start off with an injured dude
Best
being
character.
led by
A
another
good
guy.
dad in
Good dad.
Doctor Who.
Goddamn good dad with a retarded daughter. I loved it.
Oh God, she's an idiot. I'll get to
She's
that later.
really dumb.
She gets distracted by pictures. Oh, the pictures! I'm gonna sit here.
She's so, but I really like this dad. I don't think it makes
Yeah.
any sense whatsoever what the dad does as a hologram, because it's not actually him. They specifically say it's a simulation of him. It's not like they uploaded his personality or anything. So that whole thing doesn't make sense.
A lot of that doesn't work. Well, what that is though. Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I think it's more that, yeah, you're right. It's not supposed to be him, but it's him bleeding out in that more faith aspect. The idea of a higher power still having existence, because they do have a lot of references to like religion and God and things like that throughout
Thoughts and
this. And maybe,
prayers.
yeah, thoughts and prayers. This might actually be like maybe there's a little bit more to these AIs than we actually think, and maybe he's actually bleeding through, and maybe even the other good character that got fucking yeeted, also could bleed through. It's just things like that.
So we get the setup pretty quickly that these guys are you could see their collars here. They're a religious army fighting some unknown enemy that might be in the fog, and they later on they say, oh, maybe they're in the mud, and we get the drops that there's something wrong with the ambulance algorithmic.
None of this makes sense. We never get why they came to this planet. We never get why they
declared war. That's it.
They just show up, declare war. What's the big deal? And then his whole thing about you have to have a certain level of casualties to get them to come back.
That's just the anti-capitalism thing.
It doesn't make sense. If this were a company that wants to make money, they want you to go to a real war. They can't kill their own people because that's just going to look terrible.
How do you
companies care about marketing?
Yeah. The more you die, the more you buy. But wouldn't you realize that there's nobody on this planet and you're just killing yourselves? Wouldn't you figure this out?
A battle yet? Exactly. It's though these are people writing it sometimes who don't understand how things actually work.
Oh yeah, it's morons writing morons, and it comes through very clearly. And their excuse for why they're morons, they're religious. That's why they're morons, just to have an anti-capitalist message.
And I want to bring it up now because we get introduced to Monday right away. This is our second companion next season. And I want to bring this up.
Not surprised by her haircut whatsoever.
Well, this isn't her. No, this isn't her. This is the actress who's the next companion. It's not this one. And I want to just bring it up real quickly because in an interview with a Hollywood Reporter, Moffat, when questioned about this, says right here, they're asked, so let's address the character of Mundy. She's played by Andor actress who was terrible in Andor 2, Varada Sethu, and has been cast as the new Doctor Companion for the next season. This was a shock to say the least, and what a secret to keep. No, it's not a secret. Worst kept secret. It reminded me of how Jenna Coleman was introduced back in 2012, Asylum of the Daleks, one of the best episodes of that period. Coleman was announced a new companion, Clara, only to feature in an episode unannounced long before the first episode proper. And this is Moffat. Yeah, well, no, we're doing it again. I mean, I was talking to RTD about what we're going to do, but she's there. We're just going to do Clara again.
They admitted it.
They just freaking admitted it. It's just a Clara 2.0, at least in terms of introduction. And I wouldn't be surprised if
they did a similar thing with they didn't like focus deep in it, but Martha's the actress that played Martha was in the season prior at the very end.
She was playing a different character though.
Yeah,
but that wasn't intentional. But the better example is Donna. Donna too. She was introduced in The Impossible Bride and the Runaway Bride, excuse me. And she wasn't intended to be the companion. People just loved her so much that
but in this one, I think they're saying they're literally going to do a Clara again where this is going to be a descendant.
It's intentional. A descendant or a time thing, a timey-wimey thing. Yeah. I mean, Moffat did say that descendants can look like each other with the whole Clara's boyfriend from season 8 deep in the future.
That gets messed
doesn't make any sense. It's happened before too, like with Torchwood recasting the actress from The Unquiet Dead, and then her showing up in season 4 and David Tennant's like, oh, it's a multi-spatial geneticism. But
my problem with Clara's future boyfriend is the fact that how does that happen if his descendant died? He got turned into a Cyberman, and Clara isn't gonna mate with him at all.
Cyber semen.
But she's on the run still from the Crow. I mean, whatever. God damn it.
It doesn't make any sense.
I hate Clara. But yeah, so just got to point that out that they're Claring us all over again, and this is likely what we're going to get next season is either a descendant or an ancestor of Mundy. So just pointing that out.
I think it'd be an ancestor because once again, the companion is from modern day London. I'm sick of that. A classic Who, it was a wide variety, a lot of diversity when it came to characters' origins.
Yeah. So
even a new Who, they had different areas.
Yeah. So this is lame.
River.
It's stupid.
She's not a main companion though.
Amy, but she's from modern day, but she's not from London. She's not from London proper. She's from like a small little town.
They got a little bit outside London.
Listen,
what I'm talking about is like Leela. Leela was from a primitive world where she was basically a cave woman. Like that's the variety. I mean, is different planets, different species. Romana,
Yeah.
for God's sake.
Yeah. So they're doing it again, and I particularly don't find this actress appealing in any way in terms of physical
She
features
wasn't
or acting.
physically. No, she wasn't that. She wasn't awful,
No,
but that
she
might
wasn't
just be because
terrible.
Shooty's just so horrible.
Listen,
It's a
I saw
matter
the
of
chicken
comparison.
Andor. She wasn't good in
Yes.
Andor.
Yeah.
So, but so
And-
Monday.
well,
all right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no. If we're finishing Monday, we can do that.
No, just Monday is she's not a problem in this episode. I don't think she's not. She
doesn't
just,
stand out. If
No.
if her decision, if the decision to make her companion came after seeing her in this, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's like,
No.
did she stand out that much to you that you
There's
decided
nothing
to change
special
the plan for
about
season
her.
2? No.
See, there's a thing about
There really isn't.
Clara from Asylum of the Daleks. She was special, and that clearly meant there's something special about Clara. There's
Mhm.
nothing special about
I
Monday.
think that's her
and
best episode.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, hands down. But thing about Monday is she's also not bright because when later on when they're trying to hotwire the ambulance to save Ruby, they stop to talk about
She distracts
feelings.
him.
She stops him to talk about feelings.
Hey, at least she recognized it for a grand total of 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Like, it's my fault. I distracted him. Oh well.
yeah. So that she's nothing exceptional, which will beg the question: why will the Doctor be so? Well, Shooty Gatwa. Sorry, I apologize, everybody. Why Shooty Gatwa will be so interested in her lineage? Well, maybe because he wants to try and have her lineage be gay with Ruby. I don't know because that's
He just really wants Monday, Sunday. It was such
Yes.
a stupid joke.
yeah.
Who likes Mondays and who likes Sunday? Listen, Sundays are fine, but it's the end of the weekend, and Mondays are horrible because it's the beginning of the week. Who wants that together?
You want Friday, Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah, I can
You
live
know
with that.
what?
What?
I think I could make a porno off that.
Thanks, Jeremy. Okay, so Monday, they start the whole bad joke now of this guy's in love with her. Everybody knows it but her. And I got to point out that I'm going to point it out right now. This dude's death is nothing but misery porn. He
it is.
He
miserable.
didn't have to die.
He was a hero. He's the other hero of the goddamn episode. He did everything right.
He
and
was
got
competent.
fucked over.
He was competent. That's why he had to die. He's the only
It's true.
person doing competent stuff. But hey, his death was meaningless. Now, maybe that's the point. It's supposed to be a meaningless death, but you didn't have to do it. It's simply misery porn. So Shooty Gatwa could cry some more.
It doesn't make sense in the context of the episode. When we saw the one guy at the beginning get, smelted, it took a few minutes. You saw his skin start to melt. Like, it was a process. This guy got
Instant.
smelted in instant.
Yeah.
It also doesn't make sense. How did you smelt them? Don't you have to be connected at the time? Like how does the smelting process work?
It went through. He had his hand in its electrical guts. Dermy, isn't that enough?
Don't. Apparently, all I need to do to charge my phone is hold it in my hand and have my headphones on. Okay, apparently that's all I need to do in this thing.
Dude, just wire your back taco and make it happen.
Yeah.
No, legitimate. Jump into it. How to get the AI daddy gets into the system is I'm holding you. You're connected because I'm holding you.
And then you see it in his eyes.
Like, that was weird. Can you guys?
It was very
You got all right. We're gonna obviously. I think we're obviously gonna be jumping around here at this point. Fuck it. When he has a doctor idea. Granted, that's a doctor idea, but it's still set up where the doctor doesn't actually save the day.
Nope.
And so that's 3 episodes in a row now. I'm not talking Christmas because he did save the day because he murdered the whole goblin ship.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he murdered the goblins.
Murdered everybody.
He murdered everybody there. In this one, he sets it up where he's going to use AI dad, Kiss. He's Kiss dad to override the giant corporation algorithm. And he uses himself as a conduit to transfer the smelted essence of the AI through him into the wires connecting him to the ambulance. Jed, you're probably the biggest lore guy here.
Yes.
Does a Time Lord's body work like that?
We've never seen any evidence of that. There are ways to translate Time Lord consciousness into machinery. Like the Matrix on Gallifrey is literally all the dead Time Lords who were available for this had their consciousness downloaded, put into a single computer that controls the planet. It's like their and it's their wisdom maker, their prophecy maker. It's just all the past Time Lords who died on Gallifrey were uploaded. Their consciousnesses were uploaded to it. So there is that part of it, but those are specialized machines to do that, made intentionally for that.
At the same time, that's like a standard scientific thing. Memory scan, boom.
Yeah,
you're in there.
It's basically a memory scan, but just like by touch, there's not like there's some way that he controls technology with his mind. That's never been a thing.
It would make more sense if he took off his pants and shoved it up his ass. Legitimately, it would make more sense if he did that. That's how he transfers it all through.
It's stupid, but if he had just like done the simple thing of maybe bringing the smelted guy's port up to the thing in his chest, it still would have looked really dumb, but at least it would be technology communicating with technology.
Yes. God damn that fucking.
Trying to get to it. Well, look, it's crying again. I don't know where it is. We jumped so far ahead. I don't know where it is. Oh, here, we're almost there, maybe. I don't know. But the point is, they make a lot of assumptions, and it brings to the point: is Moffat being clever, or is he overstepping his bounds by making not only that, but turning? I also question: can he turn the Time Lord's body into a bomb like that would take out half the planet? It's one thing if he's in regeneration mode. I could accept it because there's so much energy going on in regeneration, but he's just regular old doctor right here.
Okay. Real quick, you brought it up. Bomb. He says to Ruby, "I had to disarm one of these one time before. I failed, but I had to do it." He knows how these things work. He has been shown. He specifically knows how these landmines work. Every aspect of this landmine, all these key details. When they have the smelted body at one point, he's telling Ruby to toss it over to me because I could blow up and you could get hurt. Okay, that's a whole thing. But then it turns out that he becomes a massive bomb. So every angle of this doesn't make sense. You knew all along that you were going to be a massive bomb that would kill Ruby. So the sole fact that she throws it to you and you fuck up, you would have killed everybody. Everything
she would
around
have died either way.
Nothing made sense. You could say, well, he was lying the whole time. No, she's a bomb. He could have killed them all. You should have known that there was a failsafe within this system. You should have known all this if you dealt with this before, and you're acting like you've never dealt with it before. That's so retarded.
It's also retarded that after that's all established, when he's told them nowhere to run, when it looks like it's all going to happen, he says run.
Oh, yeah. He knows. Like she said, it's going to blow up half the planet, which is enough to destroy the entire planet. Like if you destroy half a planet, that destroys everything. So the entire planet's gone. Yeah.
I kind of wish he did blow up. I kind of wish he did.
Listen, for a second, I thought that some other people were going to die in this. People that needed to die didn't die in this show. That's a problem.
No. Little girl.
This episode.
The little girl was so dumb. I like the opening scene before Shudigatwa showed up at the very beginning. I really liked the beginning. Oh, if you want to go back to the AI chick.
I was going to show here. I was going to show here's she's distracted by pictures.
So yeah, well, for the chat who may not know, so her dad was that guy at the beginning with the blindfold. He died, got smelted into a little meat cube or meat cylinder, and she goes and finds her dad in the battlefield. Somehow she's able to get
Somehow she just leaves the base.
Somehow they all
essentially a military compound, and she just F's off.
She and Monday F off to go find her dad. The problem is, how far away is the military compound to this spot?
This makes it look like it's really close. Like at the beginning of the episode, that he did say they were like 5 minutes out or something. Like they were really close to almost home.
Yeah. But it feels way too close. Like they're just stepping outside, and it's like, okay, so then none of you guys had the time to go out there and try to save him. Go do any of this. No, you guys just let him die.
They not step on enemy landmines on the way in.
Yeah, the guy at the beginning did say it was a minefield.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
Ruby should have
just magically got there safely.
Yeah, it's the only mine in a minefield. But
by the way,
because we saw the first one where the other dude backed into it, and the first guy got
by the way, this is our
mine.
bad wolf again. This is our bad wolf again, the old bent.
Yeah, it's the same mine. After it explodes with that guy, we see it conceal itself again.
I've heard a rumor that she's Susan.
Yep. That is the current rumor because she's
That-
been in every Shooting Out episode so far.
They're saying she's Susan.
But she is not the woman who broke the fourth wall at the end of the Christmas special. She was a different woman in that episode.
Yeah, but still, goddamn.
They did mention Susan in Devil's Cord.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Too afraid. Doesn't want to look her up. Too afraid. So this is the ambulance that is broken because of capitalism.
That does.
No, they're not
am I wrong?
broken.
Am I wrong when I say that?
No, it's 100%
No, you're not wrong.
why. But if it were actual capitalism, if they were really this evil capitalist organization, as soon as there's not a war, it's more beneficial, it's more profitable to take them to a real war instead of faking this war. Because like he said, they fund both sides of every conflict.
And
they're only getting half their profits in a fake war.
And it's also more reconstruction is also way more profitable than killing people. There's a lot of profit to be made in blowing it up and then rebuilding it.
It's true.
I mean, that would have been a better bad capitalism story. We're going to fund this war to destroy everything, and then we're going to make you pay us to rebuild the ship you destroyed. That's
so
better.
bad at it.
That's better.
Well, like this whole concept of like we're doing this because of capitalism. We fund wars because of capitalism. Even in communism, people fund wars. People fund wars all the time. War is a constant. You can't just blame capitalism for all your woes.
I know.
Yeah, war predates capitalism. War exists where there's no capitalism. But Stephen Moffat does have a hate boner for capitalism. I mean, remember the episode with Bill and Peter Capaldi where Peter Capaldi goes, "It's capitalism in space."
Oh, this might be my thumbnail right here. If I do the video, this might be it right here. That's great. I want a crying one, but
I have a much
so I do want to say I liked Ruby more than I ever have. Of course, she's still not good or anything, but Ruby was much more, there's an actual problem to solve. She was much more focused. She was acting. She was afraid. And then it was just enough of her because then she got knocked out for half the episode. So she only had a few chances to get something right. And then she succeeded.
Hey, listen, I wanted to unzip that jacket.
Oh, God.
But I think she was in the episode a good amount and did good in those few moments. I'm not looking forward to a Dr. Light episode.
Now for those who will say that it looks like it's a total Ruby episode next week.
It is.
I don't know how we're gonna make fun of that.
I'm gonna say this.
That was not there. Well, I want to say one thing. Go ahead. I'm probably gonna jump topics, so go ahead.
My issue with Ruby, period, is she's the one leading the doctor around. Yes, the doctor's the one that hopped out of the thing altogether, but at the very end, she's the one that had the key. She's the one that specifically told the girl.
The key?
She told the little girl on Monday he probably needs a changing. She's leading him around and taking care of him.
Well, according to the reading, she's 3,082 years old.
Well, I thought that maybe. I thought
well, the doctor's billions of years old, so why?
My whole thought process was they're figuring out like when she was born to this current time.
No, now I think I think that's a very bad clue to her origins because right after they said that, the snow began again, and I thought they were going to do
weird about her.
Well, obviously she's connected to old god, the oldest of the old gods, or some shit like that.
So he who waits.
I thought
I don't know how the pantheon works.
Here's what I thought was going to happen. I thought that when the snow started and stopped, I thought that was going to freeze time, and that's how they were going to get out of this.
I thought so too,
and I would have accepted that. I would have accepted that. I was like, okay, it's pretty obvious, but it will work instead of doctor transferring AI.
I do like that the dad was the one to save the day in the end. It didn't make any sense, but in concept, it was a good dad story. He saved the day in the end.
But I still want the doctor to actually save the day.
Yes, the doctor needs to do something.
The doctor needs to do something because all the doctor did was say, "Hey, go in there and get me proof." But then the dad is the one that saved the actual day by doing more, by going further and actually shutting down Villain Guard's system. It's Villain Guard, guys. Villain.
It's so on the nose. But I don't even think surrendering would have worked because it's this evil capitalist organizations that's faking a war to keep people fighting. It's going to keep going. If it's gonna do it, it's gonna do it by their own logic. For this evil corporation, surrendering wouldn't have changed a thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even his plan was stupid.
I mean,
I just
there is no. I honestly don't think there's a redeeming quality in 4 episodes now of Ncuti Gatwa's cosplaying of the Doctor. I
Not
haven't found a
him,
redeeming
no.
quality yet.
not to him. The
Me-
one moment that he had a chance to actually have a Doctor moment was when he was like just delivering his plan, not just
Yeah.
how he delivered it. Despite the whole faith aspect, he was like actually going down a path, but how Ncuti does it is just so retarded. He get it, Google it.
He said Google it.
It was pretty
He
bad.
said Google it. It just I don't.
Ncuti's the weakest part.
Oh,
He's not
did you see
wrong.
how vitriolically he said thoughts and prayers? It was venom in his voice when he said that.
Yeah.
Because he hates religion, even though he doesn't.
All right. I mean,
He's never been fond of religion, but he's always had like respect for it.
No, I don't know. Fond is like I feel like he's been fond of certain people in certain religions. He's interacted with enough of them, but he's not religious himself.
I maybe not fond. I think he's not religious.
he's not
He gets it,
intolerant.
but he's not. Yes, he's not intolerant.
This is intolerance, is what it
Mhm.
is. It's intolerance.
Mhm.
It's vitriol. It's venom. This is the look on his face when he's talking about that stuff right now.
Well,
And-
he's tying religion to capitalism, which is the thing that people do nowadays. Is saying they're two evil sides of the same coin that work towards killing people for money, and it's
Yeah.
It's
just
almost like communism has a religious aspect to it that works both sides, just kill people.
well. And something you said, Ruby, when Ruby's like, since when did priests kill people, or since when are they're militaries? And he's like, well, you're actually an anomaly. They're always trying to kill people. Besides where you from. It's like, that's not true. It depends on the religion and who's in charge. There's good times and bad times for every religion. But just doing this blanket statement while you're the one lone island that has non-military religion is asinine.
Can also get to another rant I have.
Go ahead.
Because when Ruby's trying to find the guy, the dad who screamed, and finds the urn, she gets up there. She watches the robots clear up smoke because it's better not to choke to death, but to get shot. She pauses to stare off into the alien space of planets she's never seen before, because this is her first time seeing that. If I
No.
remember right, Space Babies
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah, she looked out the window in Space
So
Baby. and
they've
Coruscant.
actually talked about this. Apparently, Space Babies was going to come out after this, and they didn't fix it. But the funny thing is that they actually revealed she's been in the TARDIS for 10 months.
Yeah, we checked that last week, because remember last week during Devil's Cord, they said
6 months.
what time is it back at your place? Oh, it's about June, July, which
Right.
means it had been at least 8 months since the Christmas episode.
They specifically said 10 months though,
Okay.
so that
Okay,
it doesn't line up to July perfectly, but yeah, that is the
Yeah.
number that was officially given. So
Yeah,
10
They've
months, and you've never taken her to an alien world. I mean, that's the first thing you did with Rose.
Yes.
So we covered this last week when we said they've been up to some shit. They've been up to shit. So this is bad writing. And you know what it is? You know what it is? It's I don't think anybody communicated to Moffat.
Yeah,
I think-
he was not involved. He did not.
I think they just let him do something and nobody edited or double checked it. And he didn't check with anybody else. It's a complete lack of communication.
Speaking of that shot, the CGI was really bad in this episode. Just even the smoke
Oh, yeah.
effects were terrible. Like Space Babies was awfully written, but the CGI was okay considering the budget. But every single shot of this episode was garbage from a CGI perspective.
See if I can get
The
to it
only thing
here.
I liked was the ambulance actually looked kind of cool. But all this CGI, I completely
The
forgot.
ambulance doesn't make sense with how Battlefield was torn up. It's on like tracks. It would never be able to move around.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to move around, but I like the design of it.
Mhm.
And where did they? Okay, let me ask you this: where did all those ambulances suddenly come from at the end of the
Where
episode?
did the mines come from? They specifically said the mines migrated. Who migrated them? Who's moving this shit around?
I mean, that's the thing. If they set this war up to fight themselves, that Jed, you pointed out earlier, why did they come here in the first place? It's never even. It's one thing if they had said, we're here to proselytize, we're here to spread our religion. That would have been one thing. But there's.
So then what started the war, even if they did come? The doctor
Yeah.
specifically said this is an empty world. And that was known. So they came to an empty world and fired shots in the air. And then the evil capitalist program algorithms like, oh, I heard a gunshot. Let's start killing people.
Let's create a minefield and start killing people so we can just sell things to them to kill themselves some more.
Yeah, and those ambulances are the only hardware we see besides the mines. There's no way they're going out and setting the mines. No way they're firing missiles at themselves. Like, it's how did the guy get blinded? We only know about mines.
We don't know.
What other technology is being used?
Wow, wait a minute.
Jesus
Jed,
Christ.
Jed, you just made a perfect point. If they haven't actually fought anything and the only damage being done are the mines, how did he get blinded? How has anybody gotten wounded? Because how has anybody been wounded, period, in this conflict? Because you step on a mine and you're done. There's nothing left except goo.
They said specifically that you're killing yourselves because you're running into this technology. What other technologies out there is the good question. But then how did you get blinded specifically there? Everything here is designed to kill you, no matter what. So unless you were a retard and tripped and stumbled into fire, your eyes should be fine.
Yeah, what were they doing out there? It's implied to be an active war zone like No Man's Land in World War One.
Yeah.
What are they trying to do? No one just walks out into no land. And
if they haven't had any contact, any real fighting, how did he get blinded? What were they doing?
See, this is my problem with the episode. Nothing makes sense. Like there's good narrative, like things of the moment.
Some good writing, character work.
Yes,
but
there's good. Yeah, character work. There's good character work. There's some stuff that's like, hey, this is compelling. You know, both white AI dad, white guy who's in love. Like, I like these characters, even though white guy has barely any lines. I still like what he did.
He's so in love with the woman. He looked at a man's crotch.
He looked at another man's thigh, and the other. We found out the other guy liked him, but he didn't like him.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you see all this stuff, and then you're like, but nothing really connects to anything. Nothing.
I mean, so
actually follows this stuff with logic.
What is the story of this story? Can we encapsulate
Shooty's retarded and stepped on Shooty's retarded and stepped on a mine.
I mean,
that's the story.
What's the moral of this story?
Don't step on mines.
Capitalism
bad. Yeah.
Okay, capitalism bad. Religion is a con, I guess.
How I took it was like anti-war. You're anti-war. I like being anti-war. Anti-war is being good. Guess what? You took it from you, but how you got to anti-war was through anti-capitalism and anti-religion.
Exactly.
It's like, but that
well said.
That's not good.
That's not a story of anti-war.
That's a story of anti-this when you want to be doing an anti-war story. Because this whole thing, you could do all sorts of like conquests.
Pause real quick. Anti-war works when you have two sides. Jed knows this. Jeremy, you sort of know this. I've been watching a lot of Star Trek. I'm in season 7 of TNG. I'm almost done. There are a lot of episodes in Star Trek where there are two sides engaged in a conflict and shit's got to be worked out. And it's usually anti-war. But it's done when you have two sides, and in good Star Trek fashion with good actual writing, it's, there's no one person that's really the good guy in this. There's always a problem on both sides. In this one, it's the boogeyman of capitalism, that the boogeyman of faith that is bad here.
You guys just watched Star Wars, the Clone Wars. You're going through the prequels, not Clone Wars, but Attack of the Clones. Yeah, you're going through the prequels. There's an anti-war message within the prequels. Like, war is bad. This leads to bad stuff. There's also power grabs and stuff like that. But that still has multiple sides, not just two, multiple sides.
Yeah, because in Star Wars, with the prequel trilogy, the Clone War, you're asking the question, are we becoming that which we've been fighting against? That question is posed multiple times. And that's a good question. the corruption of the Jedi, so speak defense. Now you're using it for offense. Are we really defending rights by demanding we're taking away rights if you're the Republic? There's actual questions there. You can't ask any of these questions about that in here. There's no anti-war questions in this. There's just, like Jed said, capitalism bad.
What was that? This is an old sci-fi movie where a dude went to a foreign planet. There's a war going on. He attacks one of the aliens that he's going to war with. Like he gets
we did
injured
this for Roundtable with Dennis Quaid.
No, Drive-In. Enemy Mine.
Yeah, Drive-In. Yeah.
Enemy. Yeah, that's a good anti-war message where you have two people from the other sides coming together and finding common ground and actually having like hard shit to go through.
Yeah. And understanding that in that, the idea of Enemy Mine is there's just literally two cultures that don't understand each other. And once a bridge has been built of understanding, you can communicate, and the war ended. And that's kind of the message of that one. But this, I'll ask again, what is the point of this? What morals are we learning that why war is bad in this? It would have been one thing.
Boeing, they're the bad guys.
It would have been one thing if good guy who died because of misery porn, if he had died a pointless death in the conflict, and that could have been a turning point between two sides of people dying pointlessly in war, because his death was pointless, and it could have been used as a plot point. It's been done before in Doctor Who.
It could have been used as the character point too, because did Monday love him?
I'd say yeah.
She never says it. She seems to like him as a friend.
She just cries.
She cried. I think she does truly love him, because when they were doing that whole back and forth, she was like getting very happy and stuff, and then she really does, like, she's pretty much depressed
for a couple seconds.
I'd say it's a little bit longer than a couple of seconds. It's also the realization that they're all gonna die, and she didn't get to say "I love you" to him. That I do think she did love him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't get that. The way she said it is in that conversation.
This looks like guilt to me, is what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. This is more guilt, that she feels bad for leading him on. Like, I don't think she loved him. I think she liked him fine enough, like he's a friend, but I think this is guilt that she's feeling right now, because she does say it's my fault he died.
You might be right, but I get that whole point of like his final message is "I love you even if you don't love me back," and like that kind of I saw a little bit more sadness in her, and I think she truly did love him, and she's upset that she never got to tell him that she loved him.
See, I took that reaction in the
I see guilt.
way.
I see guilt. And real quick, hail to everybody who's been coming in across all the chats while we've been talking. We're still working out the total format of the show, how much we're going to interact with you guys, so bear with us. But thank you guys for being here. We see you talking. Thanks. We're happy to do this for you.
I'm in all three chats. Don't you worry.
We are happy. We are happy to cover this for you. We are happy to do it because it's our job. It's our job. We suffer.
Plus, we get to. But I will say this is the upside to this episode. We're at least debating like how is this person taking it? How is this?
That's the point. Moffat. It's what we said when we started the review today. Moffat. He's at least done some decent writing in this. It's not his best. It's not even close to his best, but it's better than what RTD has done for 3 episodes so far.
Well, just like RTD1, it's once again the case where all the best episodes are written by Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, argument to be made about that. And
this is a piece of shit with whipped cream. RTDs are just pieces of shit with pieces of shit.
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't enjoy a moment of this. I didn't. Honestly, I was so annoyed. I didn't even feel about Good Dad. You guys caught up on Good Dad. I'll admit this. I was so annoyed by how the whole thing was progressing. I didn't even register Good Dad. I didn't. You know why I think? I think because the kiss thing annoyed me. That kind of
I kind of liked it because he's a single father because his wife died. He has this young retarded daughter who is obviously at least 10 to 11 years old, maybe 12.
Oh, she's at least 11, dude. That's an 11-year-old.
She has the mind of a 4-year-old. He has a hard life. He's a soldier, and kiss is the thing that he goes like, you know what? You're this
how retarded she
part
is.
of me.
here's how retarded she is. I talked to the picture thing. She's easily distracted by pictures. When she first arrives on the scene, see if I can jump back to it so we at least have her background. When she first arrives on the scene, and they're doing the whole don't
Talking
move
to the
thing,
AI daddy.
and she starts talking to AI dad. Here it comes, AI dad, and she's gonna appear on the scene because she hears her dad. And I was responding with, "Wait a minute, here she comes." It was your AI dad. How are you going to see it's not your dad? She immediately runs towards it and tries to touch it. You know it's not your dad.
Yeah.
And then
this could have been a great moment.
And then 10
of
minutes
her
later,
reacting to this.
But look, guys, 10 minutes later, she says, "Oh, I know it was a hologram." If you know it's a hologram, why are you running to try and touch it?
Because you're retarded. Because listen, I'm becoming more convinced that mommy didn't go to heaven.
See, she's trying to reach out and touch it, and I stopped it there first. I saw it.
That's a great face.
She said, "Where's my daddy? Would you my daddy?" You know it's a hologram, and it's not your daddy. It's just.
And it is assumable that since she's on a battlefield, which is already insane enough, like he got special permission to bring her. He is a terrible father from that alone. But if she's on the front lines for some inexplicable reason, do you think she'd be familiar with how dead people work in this world, getting smelted, becoming holograms?
No, honestly, no. Not if daddy's saying mommy got swept up to heaven.
Well, we don't know how mommy died, if it was on the battlefield or not.
You know, I bet mommy left. No, I'm gonna say mommy left.
Mommy left.
I'm willing to bet that they do understand the holograms, because she even says she knows the holograms. Yeah, I'm willing to bet she does understand, like, holograms happen, and these are your final messages when they go off to heaven. It's something like that.
She said that. You're right, but she's still trying to hold on to the hologram right here.
Yes, because she got dropped on her head as a baby.
Then she gets distracted by the photos.
Pictures.
Like, yeah, my dad's dad. That's a hologram.
I remember these pictures.
She tries to touch the photos too.
That's where we saw the antelope.
And
when like everything started to fall apart. Oh, that's where we saw the antelope.
Yeah, it's just, hey, here, look, jangly keys. You're a distracted child. There you go. You're 11 years old.
This could work for a 3-year-old.
Exactly.
So 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, something like that. Something that makes them like actually dumb.
This girl is a year out of puberty. She's a year out of puberty. She is aware of the world. She should not be this stupid.
Yeah.
So, what else do we have to say about this? We've jumped all over the place. We've kind of covered it all.
We covered it all, but I'd say the last part is
and then he does some prancing.
And he does the mic drop.
The mic drop, and how he does it, he goes like, basically, villain god. Basically, it's such horrible dialogue. They gave Shooty horrible dialogue. I'm convinced it's either Shooty got horrible dialogue, or he went in there and said, you know what, I can do these lines a whole lot better, and it comes out horrifically. Get it, Google it. Basically, whatever. Basically, says words.
He's got free range to improv.
Oh,
can I write a diary with drums?
Oh my god, I'd forgotten that already.
That was really bad. At least Ruby did say, I have no idea what you're saying at one point after she's resurrected.
I have no idea what's going
honestly,
on. Nobody knows what's going on.
Wait a minute. Was she dead ever in this?
The ambulance said revivification.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah. If she
she died, and they didn't even show the moment where she died. It's like she's gonna die in 2 minutes, and then 10 minutes later, it's like
that means there was no oxygen in her brain for a very long time.
Yeah, Shooty doesn't even like realize the moment she dies. There's no import put on it, but she was dead according to the ambulance.
But he got all snotty, tear-eyed when she did go down. So
when she goes down, because he ends up, I think he does recognize like something's wrong the moment the snow stops falling, like just pauses.
That's when she's
starting to die, but the actual death they don't.
It zooms in on his face, and I think that's what you're supposed to take. But Shooty's the worst part. Everything about, and then the whole lines at the end start confusing me. It's like death is what defines us. When we die is when we get defined, and what. He says that part from a poem because an old sad man told him, and I don't even know what that connects to.
Is love, and where there's snow, there's hope. That was actually a bastardization of what's his bucket? John Pertwee's final lines. His
I was
final line
hoping you would have
before.
an answer for that. I was going to ask you, where
Yeah.
is that coming from?
So
And
yeah,
I had
when
a feeling you would know.
When Pertwee regenerated into Tom Baker, his last lines, or one of his last lines was, "Where there's life, there's hope." So yeah, it's a bastardization of that for Snow
Right.
for some reason.
And
'Cause, yeah,
I got to
where
be
there's-
honest. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was going
Oh, just a Snow. I've never heard it being implicitly hopeful. That's a great pause that you've got there.
I've
But
actually
Snow
always-
in and
I've always
Snow's
heard
a-
it the opposite way. Snow's like death, destruction,
Hey,
evil. I
listen,
mean, even in Greek
Snow sucks.
mythology, the whole
sucks.
reason fall and winter comes is because of fuck, what's her name? Gets so depressed. because her
Persephone.
daughter's-
Persephone goes down to the underworld, and Demeter's
Yep.
sad.
But here's the thing. You just mentioned he talks about death. Yes, the Doctor sort of dies, but the Doctor never died. He's an immortal being essentially at this point.
Unless he blows up.
I'm sure he would have regenerated.
I don't know. Because it really does seem like if he blows up, he's dead. He was scared of blowing up. I don't know
right.
what happens here.
He was crying. That's the problem. Shooty Gatwa cries over everything. I don't know.
There's
Here's
no
the other-
stages to
the
his
stakes.
reaction. Everything
Yeah,
is just immediately sobbing.
Here's the other
Yeah.
part. He says again, I'm a Time Lord. I'm a Time Lord. You're not a Time Lord. You're adopted. I was adopted by the Time Lords. I'm a Time Lord. I'm some other dimensional being. It's like, but you're
right.
not.
He spent Space Babies telling us over and over again he's not a Time Lord.
Yeah, he's as much a Time Lord now as Rey is a Skywalker.
Exactly.
Yep. He's a copy
Because
of a Time
I say
Lord.
so.
He's a
They
copy of
don't
a
know.
Time Lord.
They don't know their own lore anymore.
They don't care.
know what
They don't.
They don't
care.
care.
That's the
Look,
point. They don't care.
we
Nope.
we went over this last week. Jed, you were. I don't know if you saw this, but he's talking about how he's the last of the Time Lords. He's the last of his kind. There was a weird thing that killed us all off through a genocide of some sort, but you bi-generated. They're all back. RTD specifically said they're all back. Every instance of the Doctor is back. You're not alone. You guys are basically completely recreating your own race right now. But
yeah, there's enough doctors now. But those other doctors are in their own timelines. He's at by regeneration splits into a different universe.
God.
except Tennant's still around. Well,
No,
14.
apparently it's so very very dumb. But like there's the toy maker's influence was still on them, right? And so it allowed them to interact with each other's universes for a little bit. But after they left each other, their universes split apart. So David Tennant is no longer in the same multiverse universe as Shutigawa.
When did that really happen?
Press interviews. Because he did say
I've read that in the press.
He did say that every doctor now bi-regenerates, but they get their own universes when that.
Do they all touch tips when they do it too?
So
Yes.
wait, if they when Shooty bi-generates,
he's gonna do more than bi-generates, dude.
But it's worse than that because some doctors regenerate because they're killed or something happens to them. A couple of them, specifically William Hartnell's the best example, dies of old age. John Hurt and Peter Capaldi, Peter to a certain extent, but mainly John Hurt and William Hartnell, they die of old age. So as soon as bi-regeneration happens, oh, I'm still old, I'm still dying. Bi-regenerate. Oh, I'm old, I'm still dying. And it's just infinite. William Hartnell's
They
dying forever.
They don't care. They don't care, and that's what you get this entire season now. It's just rewriting everything. And next week, we saw it. It looks like it's a Ruby episode.
Yeah, but Dr. Light.
yeah, it's all Ruby
Now,
episode. Wasn't there was a couple episodes that RTD made that was just a Donna episode following Donna around.
That's a scheduling decision. Dr. Light episodes are a scheduling thing to make it so that you can film faster. You split your crew into two teams, film a Dr. Light episode and a Dr. Heavy episode.
There's only 8 episodes this season, though.
That's true. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but like Turn Left and Midnight were filmed at the same time. But yeah, it is for
And,
scheduling to
I mean, and
free
Don't
up
Blink, of
the
course, is
Doctor.
probably the most famous Doctor Light episodes.
Mhm.
But that's a that's a work of art, though. That
Yeah,
episode is
it can of course be done well.
yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
points I'm trying to bring up is RTD just keeps rehashing
It's true.
old shit
Mm.
over and over again, to the point that honestly, Space Babies is just the mixture of the first 2 episodes of New Who. That's all it is. It's just combining them together.
No.
And as you just keep going further and further, you're like,
Well-
all they're doing is something new. This is the first something like old. They're just redoing it over again.
Mhm.
This is the first time we had something that wasn't old, like being presented to us, but it still was just stupid.
But the difference is Moffat, because Moffat,
Mhm.
I mean, Jed, I don't think Moffat ever really recycled his own shit, did he? He didn't recycle much of his own stuff. did he?
Not often. There were a couple things that he did. Like he recycled the girl in the fireplace as Amy.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there were a couple little things like that.
Yeah, but that sometimes I think that's more for parallels than anything. Maybe.
Maybe, but yeah,
Maybe.
the girl who waited versus the girl in
Yeah,
the fireplace.
I think that's more. I feel like that's more a thematic thing than anything. But Dermy's right. RTD is he's walking over his own stuff. He's redoing it because he doesn't have any fresh ideas unless it's agenda driven. And I mean, I don't know about next week's episode because first of all, there's that in the preview. There's a shot of Ncuti Gatwa dressed like Jacques freaking Cousteau with the diving hat and the stripes and the rain jacket. I've already closed the file. I'm not reopening it.
It's really bad.
Yeah, but he's changed that outfit. He's gonna be gone, and Ruby's gonna be hunting, and Ruby's gonna be hunted by a crazy old woman. It looks like
the same old woman from every episode.
Yeah.
Well, Russell T Davies actually came out in an interview, and it's clearly a lie. Like, you don't have to be a genius to realize he's lying. He says it's not a big deal that they're reusing actors. She was just available, so they kept reusing her, but it's not a mystery. He specifically said it is not a mystery.
Bad Wolf all over again. That's all it is Bad Wolf all over again.
Listen, we've got 5 weeks left of this.
Yeah. When's the Daleks coming in? When
no
we getting
Daleks
Daleks?
season. I don't think there's any.
Don't
Daleks
they lose the rights to the Daleks then?
So Russell T Davies actually came out this last year and said that was a myth. I don't believe that, but he did say it was a myth, so he didn't actually have to follow that rule.
I don't think we're getting Daleks. I don't think we're getting any classic Who villains. I don't think we're getting any classic Who villains, and no, I'm not going to acknowledge that right now. But it's a complete lack of creativity. Mm-hmm. The reason you reuse classic villains, one is to, I'll say, nostalgia bait. It's fake. It's how it works. You get people interested when they see the things they like. You let them know, here we're going to get, but then the creative part of it is giving it a fresh take. Like we already mentioned, Asylum of the Daleks was a fantastic take on Dalek society, which we hadn't seen yet. That was really creative by Moffat.
Well, and it makes so much sense. Like, as soon as you hear the idea, you're like, that's obvious. Why did I never think about it? It's done very well.
No,
yeah.
And one of my favorite one of the episodes I really like.
Or we can still even say, even though I don't like it, that final episode of Capaldi where we get the classic Cybermen, that's some dark shit that you're bringing back. And even though I don't like it, it still worked as a use of Cybermen.
I really do like that storyline. It's the only time I really like Bill is after she's a Cyberman.
And then you get the complete ham when the Cybermen and the Daleks went to war, which is that's just pure fan service. It's like, yes, just fight. Everybody yelling, exterminate, and it's
back in season 2.
Yeah, that's just pure fan service. That's pure fan service, and that's still understanding how to use these things. But if you're not going to bring back classic villains, at least do something interesting with what you're going to come up with. And they've already failed multiple times. The goblins were pathetic in the Christmas special. The booger monster. Maestro was just a walking agenda.
Well, it's
And-
been the
and-
same
and-
problem since the Jodie Whittaker era started. Is they're very much against using anything from the past besides throwaway Easter eggs, so that fans will be like, remember berries. Because the first villain. Do you remember the first villain of the Jodie Whittaker era? That was
Tooth
the
Man?
Tooth Monster, the Tooth
Yeah.
Fairy. I call him the Tooth Fairy,
Yeah,
but
that
like
works.
that's
I
the
like
most
that.
creative thing they could come up with. That whole season is rife with some of the worst new original villains I could possibly imagine, like the spiders thing, where they're like, "Oh my god, it's so inhumane to shoot giant spiders that are trying to kill people. Let's suffocate them to death." That is so much more.
While
Well,
yelling orange, well, basically yelling Orange Man bad.
Mhm.
Well, they did the same thing with freaking this year. It's so inhumane to kill the booger monster,
who
even though
has
we have no sign that it's sentient, and all it wants to do is it kind of looks like it wants to eat the babies, but it's bad to kill it.
It's specifically not sentient. It's the computer putting boogers together. That's not an entity.
It
That
has
is
no
just
story.
I
It
know.
has no redemption.
I had somebody try to, like a Stan, try to say, well, that's what the doctor would do. He would try to save these things, but no, he would try to save sentient beings. If it's a blatant monster, he'll try to get rid of it or deal with it in some way. Like with the goblins, he killed the goblins. These were sentient beings. That's not something the doctor would do.
Murdered
He
them.
ganked that
But-
Goblin King.
Even the worst villains, one of the lines from Real New Who, he says, "I have to give them a chance." That is his whole thing. Like, if it comes down to it, he will
Dude.
defeat the villain, but I have to give them a chance.
The whole arc around Missy. I want you to be the person I always thought you could be.
Mhm.
Why can't you just stand by my side instead of trying to stab me in the back? Think of the things we could accomplish together. And and of course, everything Missy. I loved everything Missy, and that's how you use a classic villain, right? Even in the
I
midst
did
of
enjoy
bad
Missy
season,
a lot.
even in the midst of a bad season, Missy is a bright spot. And then you go to Dr. Jodie Whittaker. Their version of the Master was what?
Yeah, they just undid all the great character work with Missy.
Yeah. So
I saw only a little bit of Jodie's era, and then I came back for the final episode, and I still don't understand what the fuck the Master was doing. I have thought that whole through multiple times. My head,
villain.
My head hurts.
It's all right. Drink more.
Drink more. Yeah. A headache.
Anyway, all right.
Alcohol headaches are better than.
I think we've beat this one to death at this point. Final thoughts on this on Boom.
Best of what we've got so far. The bar is
Absolutely.
so low that it's not really an accomplishment.
Yeah, I don't have to lift my foot very high to step over that bar.
There are some half decent character moments that I enjoyed, and one thing I wanted to bring up is the idea of the doctor in the situation. Adam, you said you didn't feel any stakes in this. As a concept, I really like this idea, and we joked about it earlier. It got Shudigawa to stop prancing around, and that was a good thing. But in and of itself, I do really like this idea of even just taking a normal doctor and slowing him down. Like Matt Smith, he talks a lot with his hands and goes around in circles and moves around a lot. That's how he thinks. So seeing him, locked down to a specific, don't move, that's still an interesting thing at this moment of danger. I think taking it so far as to blow up the whole planet was stupid, but in and of itself, I thought that was interesting.
To your point,
executed.
there was a Capaldi episode, and I can never remember the name of the episode, but when he's doing that whole loop, trying to get to the TARDIS, Heaven Sent. That's a wonderful episode.
I love that episode.
Has to slow Capaldi down. You have to have Capaldi do Capaldi stuff.
I understand what you're both saying. Slowing down is not that's my problem. My problem is it's just not believable because the tension and the stakes. Doctor Who in its history, characters are going to die. Characters die, whether they're one-offs or companions. Important long-term reoccurring characters, they will die. Some of those most powerful moments in the past 15 years have involved characters dying, and that had become beloved for one reason or another. And I would prefer a situation where I'm wondering, okay, is so and so going to get it here? But when it's the Doctor as the focal point, I'm completely taken out because there's no stakes.
Yeah.
This is Shudigawa's 4th episode. They're not going to do anything to him. They're not going to. He's going to survive
I can see that, but any show has to run into that problem. Is a risky, like putting the main character in danger is never a real stake. So it's feigned stakes is what I called it in our message. Is it sucks to have feigned stakes, but there are still ways of doing it.
There would have been a better way if
Mhm.
he had. Well, if it's let me say this for me, a better way to handle it, I think, would have been if Shooty had if somebody it happened to somebody else and then Shooty takes their place. Then that's a doctor move. It's a doctor moment, and it's the doctor then maybe placing himself in the situation to undo the situation. Because then that's the only way he's going to get it undone if he becomes the one in peril. Then that's a good story.
Something he would do with the real doctor.
Just having him being a retard and waddle off into a situation where he didn't take a moment to even assess it. While you said that's a good doctor trait to go to help somebody,
I just like he was going towards danger to help someone.
Yeah,
he
but the
should have
doctor
done it in a more intelligent manner.
He assesses the problem because they walk around that place. You could see it's a war zone right away.
Why did he land there?
They wanted to go to the beach because remember everything becomes a beach eventually.
I don't want to know what that means. I don't want to know what that means.
Hey, if it means Willie Gibson in a bikini,
I actually like that interaction because it's a Moffat-ism. Moffat was really good at showing the age of the doctor. He was very good at showing this old man. So from his perspective, from the doctor's perspective, the real doctor, he's lived through so much. He's seen the type of evolution a landscape goes under that a normal human wouldn't. So it's everything becomes a beach eventually because the way the landscapes change, just like the Grand Canyon wasn't anything at first. It was eroded away.
You make a good point. Moffat managed to make their banter not sound like a couple of Zoomers yapping at each other.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
RTD came out, I think it was either last week or shortly after the episodes. It said his worldview on writing dialogue is designed by TikTok.
Great.
He did say that.
That's awesome. I think one of the worst things for me was, and I know you guys are probably not as angry as I was, but to me, it's more spitting on the history. And Jed, you said it's more of a Moffat thing, just trying to a wink and a nod. I really didn't like it when he said, "I'm going to come back, have fish fingers and custard for me." I really didn't like that.
It was a cheap member berry.
It was cheap memory, but it's also flying in the face of Moffat's own doctor rules that he set up. New doctor, new tastes, new face, new tastes.
Yeah, he would have.
That was Matt Smith. That's literally.
That's one of his first lines.
It's at this point by their retarded timeline, at least 4 doctors ago at this point. So
he wouldn't care for fish fingers and custard anymore. But that was not the only thing that he did that was references to the Moffat era. You probably heard him a couple times mentioning the moon, the president's wife. That's a reference to the finale of season 9. What was it? Hellbent, when he was in Gallifrey, when Missy was it at the end of season 9? I think it was Missy said it. It was at the beginning or end of season 9 when Missy said when he was a little girl, he stole the moon and slept with the president's wife. One of those is a lie. Which one is it? To Clara. And so that's what those were referenced to, is stealing the moon.
I forgot
the president's wife. So there were a lot of little Moffat references that were just so out of place. Why is he randomly talking about the president's wife?
It's his only chance.
It was just
his only chance.
Mindless member berries.
And that's the thing. But I think it only gets worse because the remaining 5 episodes are all RTD written, right? I believe. Maybe. I mean, I saw a list at one point. I don't remember.
There's only 4 writers is it that one? So there's 5 writers for the series. Most of them are co-writers, but there's only like an episode or 2 that he doesn't write. So
yeah,
most of it is.
I wouldn't call this a bright spot today, but I would call it not as trying. I mean, last week was painful. This wasn't painful today. I was just slightly miffed. The double episode last week, that was painful.
Listen, the 2 episodes last week, I debated, do I start chugging whiskey now or later? This one, I did not want to chug whiskey. I had to watch it twice because I watched it one time drunk, and I didn't hate it like I did the other 2, but I didn't enjoy it. And I needed to sit down and further collect my thoughts on what I actually saw before I could give it a proper judgment. The other ones, it's what do you want me to say? They were just garbage. I can go through all the lists and the reasonings. They're just garbage. This one I actually had to sit here and go like, what do I actually feel about this one?
Today was one of those
Yeah,
instances where we spent more time criticizing, I think, the actual story and why it didn't work, as opposed to this is breaking my brain and it's so bad.
Yeah, we could have an actual discussion about it, whereas
Yeah.
the other episodes we just had a laugh. It was just so farcical that we couldn't even list the plot.
Jinx Monsoon yelling at us across the screen, breaking the fourth wall 3 times, and everything else. But I mean, the worst thing is, of course, the crying.
Yeah, the crying
7
is just
times. 7 times.
But I think a great episode to compare this to, and probably in the viewings when we get those probably tomorrow, is the episode. What was it called? The second 60th anniversary episode. I can't remember the name for the life.
The thing about the Air Force.
Yonder.
Air Force.
Wild Blue Yonder. Oh God, and there were so many bad parts about that episode too. But we were generally okay with that one for the most part. I think Adam was the most negative.
I was the worst one
us.
because I was just like this one. I was just, why am I here? Why are we doing this? This is...
But we're having nuanced discussions about each episode. It's not a 60th anniversary episode 1 or a Devil's Court situation where it's just so bad that we're not consistent in just the same level of, hey, we're having conversations, we're having nuanced discussions. And I think these episodes are a great example of that. We're willing to praise this when we see something that is genuinely worthy of praise. And of course, the stands out there, the people calling us names and whatnot, they're never going to talk about this. They're never going to talk about Wild Blue Yonder, the fact that, we had positive things to say.
Because they never have an answer for anything we're going to pose. Because we're trying to pretend. We were, Dermy, last week, did we manage to compare anything last week to actual classic Doctor Who episodes in our discussion?
Other than pointing out like they're blatant ripoffs and blatant.
But I mean, today we actually were able to make some comparisons as to how something could work in an original way, or is that we were actually able to have, as Jed said, a nuanced discussion. We're not going to get that going forward. Our remaining 5 episodes are only going to get worse because remember, there's going to be episodes about Shutagawa being black. We've still got he's going to go be very likely very gay with some Victorian man. In England,
like last week we pointed out
the Bridgerton episode.
We ended up pointing out last week how there's an entire the concept for the Devil's Court is humanity had lost all of its ways to show its emotions and stuff through music, that we killed each other. And that didn't make sense because we've shown plays do this. We've shown that art does this. So we use old episodes to show like, hey, this doesn't make sense via what you've already established. But in this moment, we're doing this because it's like, well, we're comparing each one. We're saying, hey, this one works better than this one. This works good here, here, here. Hell, even when it came to Monday, I think you guys were more hateful of Monday. I thought she was meh. And
I have a bias.
We had a back of.
Yeah, I have a bias.
I was with you, Dermy. She was. I didn't hate her. He was just kind of there.
We actually had like a debate on did she love the guy or did she not? And, nobody's ever going to point that out. Nobody's ever going to come here and point out like we actually had this nuanced discussion. We went through this moment. They just want to point out when we talk about Jinx Monsoon, when we talk about Shirikatwa, they never even want to point out that, hey, we're mixed on Ruby. We're mixed. She's annoying sometimes, but goddamn, does she have great moments?
It's mostly her writing. I don't think her acting is that bad, but it's her writing that's her big problem.
A lot of
usually she's at her best when she's quiet and walking.
Writing as the excuse of being bad could only be the problem, but you just look at Peter Capaldi. He had a lot of bad writing, but he still, as a great actor, made it worth watching him perform.
He was way too good for the show.
Yes, you're not wrong. All right, let's wrap it up then. Let's go around the horn. Dermy, what's on your schedule?
Well, for those of you who are watching this live, here in roughly 30 minutes or so, I will be going over to do some more Saturday Chatterday, where I'm just going to be playing more Final Fantasy 14 online, chatting with everybody who knows what other topics we might get into. We might talk about Assassin's Creed. We might talk about random stuff. We're just going to have fun like we do normally on Saturdays. So yeah, check us out. Link. I need to put out that tweet, and then tomorrow, hopefully around noon, I'll have my full length review of this, like going through each moment bit by bit. Maybe about a 30-minute long video, maybe 40. It's hard to tell. I have to cut out a bunch of stuff still. So,
All right, Jed, what you got coming up?
Well, you can all find me at Hollywood Scholar and YouTube and Kick. I mean, besides the people that are already here, and just regularly scheduled live streams over the next week, and coming back for Drive-In next Saturday. But I'm sure Adam will talk about that, and Roundtable tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow we got Roundtable 2 p.m. Eastern, where Jed, myself, Dre, Dragon Lady, and Grump will be coming back. Unfortunately, for his final episode as a regular panel member, we'll talk about that tomorrow. We were not kicking him off, guys. He just doesn't have time anymore. He just doesn't have time anymore. But he's coming back one last time to join us. So we got Roundtable tomorrow. We'll be talking Assassin's Creed. We'll be talking a little bit Doctor, because as Jed said, we're going to get those over the night numbers.
they're
get
going to
those
be
tomorrow.
devastating.
It's
gonna
gonna
be rough.
It's gonna be worse. I think it's gonna be worse than Jody's worst at this point.
Take note. We went over it last night. Nielsen numbers and Samba did not track Doctor Who.
Nope.
Well, Nielsen's are a month behind. We won't get those.
Well, no,
for
if you
another
go
3 weeks.
by the weekly basis, weekly top 10
Either
streaming.
way, it's gonna be a disaster. So we'll talk that. We've also got, I forget what else on the we got stuff. Join us tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. Later tonight,
Praise
I will
power.
be over on Dermy. I'll be with Dermy. I won't be streaming it, but I'll be over on Saturday playing 14, helping the guys out there, doing my own thing. Then tomorrow after Roundtable, I will be on Beelzehub for another Get Ranked. So 7 p.m. Eastern, join there. And then Monday, Mellow Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern. Rest of the week, there'll be a natural 20. I will try and finish Stellar Blade in the next couple of days. We're at the end of that. Get that over with. Over on Renaissance Nerd Arcade. Subscribe to that for all my gaming goodness. And as Jed said, we'll be back next Saturday with Drive-In, 6 p.m. Eastern, to wrap up Star Wars month with Revenge of the Sith. And then right after that, we'll be back here for more of this garbage. So we want to thank all of you for joining us across all the channels. We appreciate it. We'll catch you guys next week. Until then, guys, take it easy. Have a good night or day wherever you may be.